going to talk about fear today. Faith in what we don't see. Faith in what we don't see. What do you see? Whatever the world wants you to, whatever your five physical senses bring the information into you. So, what do we work off? How do you feel? Where's your feelings come from? Mentally, physically, socially, financially, and spiritually. Where do they come from? Emotions. Emotions generate a feeling. A feeling generates a thought, and a thought, you either use words or you live it out. You put action into that process. And they're all controlled by your emotions. And we only have two, as you all know. One's love and the other is fear. Fear of what? Every day that you walk outside that place with not like-minded individuals, and we're all in business to do that, then you're being subject to fear, negative energy. And that fear is what? Let's define fear. We understand what fear is, but it's a lack. You're afraid that you're going to have something, and somebody's going to take it away from you, and then you don't have it again. So it's a lack. You can have a lack of whatever. You can have a lack of money. You can have a lack of oxygen. You can have a lack of friendship. You can have a lack of love. You can have all kinds of lacks. And we are surrounded by energy vampires, and they love to suck the energy out of it. And you know who those people are. Well, what are they doing? Well, they're taking your energy, and that's your life force, and that's what we all live on, is energy. We're electric beings. Our body is made out of electricity. And that's that unseen to the seen that Jesus talked about in God. He brought the seen from the unseen. Well, that's the atoms that make up the creation that we all live in. And each one of those atoms have an electron, a proton, and a neutron, and they circle that at the speed of light, and each one of them are vibrating. It's giving off energy. And that's what makes up your body. That's what makes up everything that we understand in this natural world. And if you want to get lower than that, you have to get an electron microscope, and then you go into what's a neutron, an electron, and a proton made out of. Well, those are faster than light.
Those are quantum.
Yeah, that's where the quantum mechanical theory and all that other stuff comes from. Quarks, bosons, leptons. And they're faster than light, and they can be in more than one place simultaneously. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But anyway, we're not going to talk about any of that, but that's how God created everything. And guess what you have? And we all do, born again or not. We have the authority over everything that has been created in this life that we're living. The only thing you don't have authority over is another human being. But that other human being can give you the authority to be in charge of their life, which happens a lot. Subservient to an individual, you see that a lot. Of course, they stir that up politically, the blacks against the whites, and all that other crap, because the blacks have this slave mentality that's been promoted by the television and the leaders of their communities, so they keep control on them. And that's crap. That's not true. It's only true if you believe it. And that's what they're doing. They're taking their authority through fear. And that's really what you got to work on, is the fear of the individual. And especially with you, Chris, because of your church. I mean, you got a lot of people in there that live in fear. And they've got to take control over it. Nobody else can.
Right.
But you have to show them, you can't show them all at once or they'll puke all over you because they can't swallow the whole thing.
Right.
And that's where I have problems with people not just taking it and go. Well, they don't. They're afraid. They're afraid they're going to lose something. It's all about fear.
Yeah. So
Well, when you take control, is sin in the way? Is that, you have a fearful thought, you send that away?
You have the authority to do whatever you want. You can receive it, build on it, give your energy into it, and it'll get bigger. Or you can say, no, I send you away. That's how when you have inclement weather, you can speak to the weather. If you believe it, not through your head, but through your heart. It's all based on faith of God. And God's given you his faith. So,
And it's something we have to do all the time, send the things away
yes.
constantly.
Oh, yeah, because see, you live in fear. You have the subject of fear, not live in fear, I shouldn't have said it that way. But you have the ability to bring that fear into you because you're living in it. You're in an ocean of it. But that's the world system. That's how we want to control the world, through fear. That's why the Catholic Church and all the religious and Methodism, Baptism, and all that other crap, they're all based in fear. Works mentality means that you don't have it, and the only way you're going to get it is you got to earn it.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
that is the way the world system works, and that's what religion is put in. And when the rubber meets the road, sometimes it's resisted. And that's what the people got to remember. That's what they got to learn. Not in their head, but in their heart.
So we just have to keep sending away and rejuvenate ourselves and who we are.
Regain your sight. That's what Jesus did. It's the same principle.
Meditate, right.
Yeah.
And I've been doing the
Morning.
sun morning.
Oh,
yeah.
right.
I've been doing the what?
The sun,
Defragging.
I try to get into where the light is, but I got some trees that kind
Yeah.
of block it, so I do my best.
No, that's fine.
But
You still get
it's
some.
about 5 or 6 minutes. I've been doing it almost every morning.
It's great.
So it does feel different.
It will. You see, the contact of your feet to the dirt or the ground, the earth, is giving off electrons. And you use electrons every day. That's what makes us work.
Right.
Well, you got to replenish it. And that's why when you ground or defrag, is what I like to call it, you're regaining those electrons into your body.
Yeah.
Anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, whatever you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've been doing about 5 to 6 minutes every
that's good.
day.
Yeah, hallelujah.
And do it to pray or whatever.
That's what I do. I usually pray.
And
Give God
so
celebration.
it does make a difference.
It will.
It's really neat. It's really
Hallelujah.
wild. It's really wild.
And soon you're going to be able to get out in the sun. Well, right now it's, winter time's on our way. My sun is now down to an hour. It's it. That's all I get because of the, direction of the sun and the rotation of the earth and all that other crap. So from 8 to 9, that's it. Because then it gets into the trees and it gets all ugly. And and what did that do? So you need vitamin D, and the only way you can get vitamin D is through sun. You can't get a supplement, although they sell them, but they don't work because they're positively charged. And your body is negatively charged, so it won't work. It's impossible. But that's beautiful, that's great. And the reason your feet sweat, the moisture from your feet, is so you connect to the earth. It's a bond. Any water is a conduit or a bond. So you're plugging in from the barefoot into the dirt or grass.
Yeah, even if the grass is wet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and your foot's wet because you've got sweat glands in your whole body. That's why. So you're really a water creature because 80% of you are water.
That's true.
Anyway, it all connects.
Yeah.
It's a symmetry of vibrational and water. Because that's why you're subject to the vibrations, positive or negative. Fear is obviously a negative vibration. Well, why? Because all the water that's in your body is subject to that vibration, that energy. Yeah. You can't get away from it. And the EMFs, electromagnetic fields or pulses that surround us because of the cell phones, the laptops, the lights, all this other things are sucking water out of your system. That's why you walk around dehydrated. That's what causes problems. That's what's wrong with wind. That's what was wrong with Warren Wolf. He was dehydrated. Because we didn't grow up this way. It's only been going on for about 10 years because of the change of the electricity. We grew up playing outside as a kid. You rode bikes, you played baseball, whatever. We were always out playing, and I was barefooted. But we weren't subject to it. But 10 years 10 years now, because of the electric lights, because of the energy grid, because of the Tesla invention of alternating current, it's bad for you because of the vibrational energy. See, they've taken out the red and the blue out of the light because it's cheaper to run. Well, guess what you need to start your body every morning?
Red and blue.
Red and blue. And it's got green in it too, before the sun, gets too high. But that's what makes this work. It goes into your pituitary gland, and that gland generates the energy into all your body. So you're turning the key on to wake yourself up.
Yeah.
How many times have you haven't been doing that over the years? Which throws off the circadian rhythm, which tells you when you need to get up or go to bed. And it also maintains a balance in your system. And if you get into your iPad the first thing or your cell phone in the morning, the heat of the light that's coming off of that is like noon. So you're telling your body when you wake up that it's noon instead of 7 o'clock in the morning because of the heat. And it goes into your eyes.
Even if it's on the lowest display.
Doesn't
setting,
matter.
don't
No,
matter.
yeah. I know. That's why I got these $15 blue blockers.
So those would be all right in the mornings.
Yeah, because it cuts out 50%. And the orange colored one is even higher, and you can buy them on Amazon, $15. I got them because they're spring loaded because I got such a fat head.
It's all
Those
that
glasses
knowledge.
won't fit me. Yeah. But yeah, you should have them. And never wear glasses out in the sun. I mean, because of the myopia. And what causes that? The heat off of these and that and these lights. The grid that runs all the energy in America is at 60 hertz cycle. Your body's grid that runs, it's 100 hertz cycle. So we're not even compatible with electricity. So what's that cause? Chaos. You remember when you were a kid and the old AM radio and your dad would go under a high line and they'd go, static would get on it? Well, that's why. They're not compatible. Well, this is what's happening to us 24/7. And you can't get rid of it because you live in it. So what do you got to do?
You got a defrag.
You got to defrag early in the morning and get that energy back. Drink pure water because then you're replenishing the water that's in your system. And eat seafood, which is the best energy there is. And but yeah, if you want to live a good life without any sickness or disease, this is what you have to do.
Right.
Or not. I mean, it's up to you. But we're subject to the environment we live in. All of us now. And the world system knows this. Apple phone came out and said, do not put the phone up to your ear. Had a little disclaimer down there in the small print. Because it's bad, because it's EMFs. That's why they're having sterility problems in Japan, because the kids that watch their cell phones 150 times a day. It's the light. It's going in and screwing them up, and they're becoming sterile. Can't have kids. You remember what killed Steve Jobs? The guy that had an Apple?
Wasn't it cancer?
Yeah, of his liver. And he had a liver transplant and he came back. Why do you think that happened? He put the cell phone in his pocket. He used a laptop on his lap. EMFs cause cancer. He would not let his children have any of his devices to use. He knew what was going on. This is what I'm talking about. That's why I have my cell phone on speaker all the time. I don't care if you want to hear me or not. It's just, it is what it is. And I'm not going to put that phone up close to me, and I don't put it in my pocket. And
Where do you put it?
In my briefcase where I hold it. And I talk through my radio in my car. It's hooked into the phone, it's hooked into the radio. And even the car is full of EMFs.
Yeah.
See, it's just, you can't get away. It's everywhere. It's like oxygen. There's no place you can go and not breathe for very long. Same thing with EMFs. That's why it's so important for you to guard yourself. Do the things you need to do to keep yourself in health. You've got youth which is great, but that youth is only gonna last so long, because you're burning at both ends right now, because of your lifestyle. Ed's 70, what, 3, 4, or 4? He can live another 30 years in perfect health if he wants to. And you can see his children's children's children if he wants. But it's up to you. A lot of people don't. Only thing that's keeping me on this earth is my grandkids and my daughter, to tell you the truth. And God said I can't go, or I'd be gone. This sucks, man. I don't like this. I'm so tired of telling people what they can do, and they argue, or they don't show up. It's more important to go do this and listen to God's word. That makes no sense to me whatsoever, and I know it doesn't to you. I mean, you've even got it worse than me, because you're a pastor of a church. I don't know how to explain that. It's something I don't understand. Anyway, so much for all that. Anyway, that's the foundation. That's where the fear, that's what we're dealing with. This is why. And the symptoms are caused by the decisions that we make. I'm going to use fear in the Message Bible, and I'm going to read Philippians 4:6. Don't fret or worry. Instead of worrying, pray. Let petitions and praises shape your worries into prayers. Letting God know your concerns before you know it. A sense of God's wholeness, everything coming together for good, will come and settle you down. It's wonderful what happens when Jesus displaces worry at the center of your life. You remember when I talked about the Sophia scale, the 528, and you probably don't remember it, but there's a scale that was used way back, and it was for the Hebrews, and their energy vibrations, and there's a scale. And there were 6 different vibrations, and then they turned into 9, and that creates a perfect circle. And that circle is inside of your heart. And in the center of the circle is where all the energy is, and that's where you are. So you're in the center of your circle. You create that. The 528 frequency, which is the third one, which is the miracle frequency, and they have found out that it has healing properties. It's very good. Didn't you get a tuning fork?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the 528 frequency. And anytime you got a headache, you got problems or pains or something, you hit that tuning fork. You can run it around your head, run it over, and that 528 frequency is the frequency of God. That's the frequency of your heart. That's the frequency of everything in this earth that God has created. It's the same frequency. So what you're doing
What
is,
you listen to,
yeah, you can just hit a tuning fork and it goes ding.
and you hear it on YouTube or something, pull it up.
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, Sophia frequencies.
Yeah, they got things that last an hour, and you just sit there and listen to it as you're doing something else.
I play it all the time. I've got the Schumann frequency, which is the frequency of the earth, and it's 7.83, which you can't hear, so it has to be encoded to music, and that's the way you get the benefit of it. That's why when people go in airplanes and fly, they have problems. A lot of blood clots are formed in airplanes because they're disconnected from the earth. We're creatures of energy. That's why pilots get sick. That's why astronauts come back sick, because they're disconnected from the earth.
Mm-hmm.
That's why space shuttle will never work. It can't. Because you're disconnected, you're unplugged from your energy source.
Sure.
That's why birds, if you get up early like you're doing, you can hear birds tweeting and talking. Well, they're making the sounds of the planets in our galaxy. They found that out, because each planet makes a different sound frequency, and the birds use that frequency when they talk.
How do they pick that up?
They can hear it, feel it.
Wow.
even though the planet might be a million miles away, they hear,
Sound, yeah, the energy is always, it never,
never goes away.
no, it can't. It just keeps going forever. That's why every thought that you have is either good or bad, and it lasts forever. That's why we have all these crappy stuff happening on the earth, because of people's bad thoughts. It's gotta go somewhere. Well, it goes into earthquakes and tornadoes and hurricanes and volcano eruptions and all kinds of stuff. But that's where it comes from. They're giving hurricanes names,
Yeah.
giving them power. Stupid. But people don't understand. You know, that's why Jesus said, my people perish. It was an Old Testament, but still it's Jesus. For lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
I bought this real 528 thing, and it's got a cord, and it's real long, and you bang it, and it's real, I'll bring it up here on Wednesday, so everybody can hear it, because it has healing properties, and just by being here and listening to this thing, it will re-energize you. So it's like what you do in the morning, same principle. And it heals your DNA. Yeah, incredible. Back before they had doctors and before they had pills, the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, this is back when they took and broke up Rockefeller's oil. Remember that? You weren't all born then, but it was back in the early 1900s. He got to be the richest man in the world, so the government broke him up, and he got really pissed. And he said, okay, go ahead, but I'm going to control the world through medicine. And that's where the pharmaceuticals will come in, the doctors and all this other stuff.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's how far back it goes. And they know that pills don't work. The body has two ways of carrying the energy from something to cure you, to heal you. One's chemicals and the other's energy. And taking a pill, you have to use the chemical delivery system. Well, it takes 97% of the pill to deliver it to the problem because it's a chemical base. Doesn't work. The energy is instant. It's faster than light. That's why when you lay hands and you pray and they receive, that's energy. You're expending energy from you going into them because they're allowing it. It's not, I mean, you don't have to be born again to do this. Anybody can do it. Because we are a child of God, even though we're born again or not, we're still the child. We're still making God's image, and all the things that He gave Jesus are ours. He gave it to everybody. He didn't just die for all the people that believed on Him. He died for everybody. Sure. And there's the difference. You won't get that in your religious upbringing, but that's the way it works. How can yogis, you know, pray for people and they get healed, and people in China that don't believe in God, how they do it? You know, through Buddha or Hubba Bubba or whatever it is. It's because they believe it and they have the authority on earth to be able to do this. You don't have to be a Christian to do this. If you want to go to heaven, you do. But to speak to those things or not as though they were, that's for everybody. You get to choose. Believe it or not. It doesn't change the outcome. It's the truth. I got videotapes of people in China that go to hospitals, and this one woman had a big giant cancer tumor in her chest, and they did an ultrasound while these three guys over there were chatting in the corner, and it went away. Because they believed it. It's no different than you laying hands on somebody. It's no different than me. It's what do you believe? There's no fear involved other than what we make. We make the fear because we grew up in fear. Our whole life has been manipulated by fear. You learn fear from your parents. You learn fear from really your mother to start with, because that emotional fear goes into you when you're in her belly. Because you're subject to energy waves. And the emotions that your mother feels goes into you. That's why you're predisposed when you come out of your mom, because some of the things that she was afraid of, you're afraid of. Because it was put in your DNA. You can change it, but if you don't, it's there.
Yeah. Makes sense. Changing it by rewriting.
The DNA, yeah, you can speak to it, or you can do the 528 frequency. I've got a wind chime I hang from the ceiling fan in my little place where I stay, and it wobbles and it bangs, and it does 528 all the time. So I'm in a frequency of 528 in my space. And it's keeps you, I mean, do I have challenges of healing? Sure I do. But they don't last, and they go away. I'm not subject to it. And sometimes it takes 6 hours, 12 hours, 24 hours, 48 hours, sometimes it takes a while. But it's gone, because that's my mind, my soul, hooking up with my spirit, and when it becomes one energetically, then it goes away. But sometimes my mind, says, oh no, look at this, how did you feel that? Ooh, bad, you've been told that, oh, you look bad. Well, no.
Yeah.
That's a perception of an individual. They're energy vampires. That's what they're there to do. And we all know this. I mean, it happens. Your family will do it. Generally, it's people that's closest to you do that. Children, your wife, associates, your best friend, whatever. They'll always attack you because they want to plant fear in you. And they don't even know they're doing it when they do it, but that's the bottom line. So you have to discern, you just have to send all that away. You have to protect yourself. Because if you don't, you're going to suffer the consequences. And that's what causes sicknesses and diseases, and that's why people die. Deuteronomy 31:6. Old Testament. Be strong. Take courage. Don't be intimidated. Don't give them a second thought, because God, your God, is striving ahead of you. He's right there with you. He won't let you down. He won't leave you. And this is before Jesus came to earth, right? But it's the same thing. Why are you in fear? Why? Why? Be strong. There's no fear in strength. Take courage. Courage means you're not afraid. Don't be intimidated. Intimidation is built on the lack of something. Don't give them a second thought, because God, your God, is striding ahead of you. He's there. He's there. He's your buckler. He's your shield. He's right there with you. He won't let you down. He won't leave you. And that's what, when everything else fails, this is what we do. It's not about me getting healed. It's about God giving me the healing. I love this Psalms 20:34. Even when the way goes through Death Valley, I'm not afraid. When you walk at my side, your trusty shepherd's crook makes me feel secure. You know what a shepherd's crook is? It's
a pole that has a hook on it.
Yeah, they grab the sheep.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what he's saying. This is Psalms. So they use a crook. You're trusting. Shepherd's crook makes me feel secure. You got me, God. You got me in your influence. So it's always going to be against any kind of fear. And that's what we're talking about. You can let fear come in, and you can play with it for a while. But when you do, you pay a price. Matthew 6:34. Give your entire attention to what God is doing right now. If you're giving your entire attention, you have no attention for fear. to what God is doing right now. God is the God of the eternal now. And don't get worked up about what may or may not happen tomorrow. God will help you deal with whatever hard things come up when the time comes. Okay? Got that? Hallelujah. You got to remember, we are always going to be subject to the ability to accept fear. It's in you. You're born in it. It's in your physical body. It's part of what makes you who you are. But you don't have to open the door and let it come in. See, you have the authority, you have the legal right to send it away or not accept it or tell it to leave. I do this with tornadoes all the time. I learned this in Oklahoma when I was a young adult. Speak to the tornadoes and they leave. I've done it here in Georgia a bunch of times. But they have to leave, if you believe it. They go. They go back out in the air. They dissipate. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing that you don't have authority over. Nothing. How did Jesus raise the dead?
Spoke to
That's right. He believed it. And that spirit of whoever he was talking to wanted to come back. So they had unity. Hallelujah.
Need to speak to that hurricane.
It did.
Yeah, we had that, our little Bible group this morning spoke to it, you know, told it to make a turn and go back into the ocean and not come in, not develop.
And most of the people that did that with him don't believe it. It's head knowledge. They're part of a group. It only takes one person that really believes it. And Houston didn't have that person. I didn't even know there was a hurricane in Houston until you said something, or I heard something on the radio. Well, I don't listen to TV. I shut off.
There's another one now.
Yeah, it's in Florida, coming to Florida or something.
That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Next week, or first of next week or something.
But all that negative energy from the thought process of all the people in the world, that's where the stuff's coming from.
Yeah, all the media, I mean, you turn on TV, that's all it is.
And they're giving their authority to this.
By naming it too.
Yeah, exactly. That's just part of agreeing that how big it's going to be, where it's going to hit. Now it has a name. Now you got to do
So
something.
one person can overcome all those people.
Oh yeah, positive. Yeah,
Yeah.
certainly. It's like darkness and light. You don't turn the switch on to bring darkness into the room. You can, but if you turn the light on, darkness has to leave. It has to. And you can't bring darkness into a lit room. You won't. It's impossible. You can't. Light's stronger than dark. Can't happen. Same principle. Believing or not believing. Well, not believing just means you believe in something else other than what you said. Romans 8:31. So, what do you think? With God on our side like this, how can we lose? If God didn't hesitate to put everything on the line for us, embracing our condition and exposing himself to the worst by sending his own son, is there anything else he wouldn't gladly and freely do for us? And who would dare tangle with God by messing with one of his chosen? Are we chosen?
Yes.
Yes. Who would dare even to point a finger? The one who died for us, who was raised to life for us, is the presence of God at this very moment sticking up for us? Do you think anyone is going to be able to drive a wedge between us and Jesus' love for us?
No.
There is no way. No trouble, no hard times, no hatred, not hunger, not homelessness, not bullying, bullying, can't say it, bullying, there we go, threats, not backstabbing, not even the worst sins listed in Scripture. They kill us in cold blood because they hate you. We're sitting ducks. They pick us off one by one. None of these phases us because Jesus loves us. I'm absolutely convinced that nothing living or dead, angelic or demonic, today or tomorrow, high or low, thinkable or unthinkable, absolutely nothing can get between us and God's love because of the way that Jesus, our Master, has embraced us. Nothing. No thing. Hallelujah. So the only way that death can come into your life is if you let it. You choose. Because anytime you don't take God or Jesus, then you're in a Luciferian doctrine, and that doctrine means it's just without God. That's all it means. There's no God there. And that is sin, and what are the wages of sin? Death. Eventually that's what you're going to do. You're going to pay the price. Because your spirit and your soul's got to go somewhere, because it's energy. Psalms 34:4, this is good. God met me more than halfway.
Psalms 34?
Yeah, 34:4. God met me more than halfway. He freed me from my anxious fears. Right there, there's your fears, there's your antidote. And this is in Psalm.
That's my favorite verse.
Hallelujah. And we got 97:4 Psalms, 97:4. His lightning lights up the world. Earth, wide-eyed, trembles in fear. Why were they to tremble in fear?
Where are we? Where'd you say?
97:4. That was the Message Bible. His lightnings light up the world. That means, I'm assuming lightning coming from the clouds into the earth. And the earth has lightning too, because one's positive and one's negative. His lightnings light up the world. Earth, wide-eyed, trembles in fear. Why would the earth tremble in fear about lightning?
I don't know.
Because lightning kills, because it's very hot. And it's electric. It's caused from friction, probably. Hallelujah. Proverbs 10:27. The love of God expands your life. A wicked life is a puny life. Case in point right there where those three guys died. The story that you told before we were waiting on Chris to get here. That Gary Vanover did in Panama. Explain it to us again. It's good to retell this on the camera.
Gary, lady that runs the ministry had, and she's probably had 10,000 salvations down in Panama. And so these three guys came in from a cult, worshiping the evil one. They wanted to know if there was a heaven and hell, and if so, could they buy their way out of purgatory? So they said, the lady said, no, but I'm going to tell you how to get into heaven through Jesus Christ. And so she gave the plan of salvation, and they said, no, we're not going to look at that. So they left, and two of them died that day, and another one died the next day.
Wow.
Now, I said it was blaspheming the Holy Spirit, and Moose said, no, that ain't it. He said they just chose sin to disbelieve Jesus, and that's death.
What are the wages of sin? See, people blaspheme the Holy Spirit in the whole world all the time, and it happens every second of every day. And they're not dying, they're not falling down. But see, these guys chose. The choice was given to them,
Right.
and they chose sin. That's what they wanted. Well, by choosing sin, making a public statement, their authority was given to sin. And what is sin? Death. And what did they die? Because they chose it.
But it's amazing, they died immediately.
That shows you how strong their authority is, that they didn't even know they had when they did it.
Kind of like
They killed
Ananias
them.
and Sapphira.
Yes, exactly. See, and that was a commune that wouldn't work anyway back then, because everybody was selling their goods, making a commune out of it so everybody could have money. Well, that doesn't work. Jesus never sanctioned that. That was people at their stupidest doing that.
Stupidness.
Yeah, that's a word. Of course, they lied, you know, and they were Jewish. Sapphira and Ananias was Jewish.
Yeah.
And they know if you tell a lie, you die. They knew that, because that's the old Hebrew Old Testament. You don't do that. And that's why they died. They committed a sin of lying, and when they were confronted by that sin, they knew what was going to happen to them. And they died. God didn't kill them. God doesn't kill people. Doesn't have to. We're killing ourselves every day by what our thoughts are, from our feelings and our emotions. That's why it's so important. When fear strikes you, what do you got to do?
Send it away.
You got to send it away. I mean, you just can't be passive and let it come into you. And if somebody else is coming up to you, boo and ha and saying, you know, I've been down so low, it looks like up to me. Well, let's examine what you have done to cause that, because you're the one that's caused it. Nobody else has. Satan ain't got no power. Jesus said it's finished. I'm up in heaven.
But when people do that, it sucks your energy, right?
Oh yeah, that's what it's about. Yeah, they're energy vampires.
Oh, man.
And it's your job to show them.
I think I just need to bake in the sun all day.
Well,
You mean you got some vampires there?
And they don't mean to be.
Oh, no,
They don't.
nobody means to be.
Yeah, I mean, some of them may, but not a lot of them.
no, they don't know any difference.
They're confessing what their reality is.
Yes.
Which is physical.
Yes, it's totally, what they see is what they believe.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. God help us.
But you just have to, you know, show them, lead them,
Yeah.
and I don't do that.
Guard myself.
Oh, you have to. That's why he said put on the whole armor. What was he talking about? Energy vampires. You put the whole armor on God. See, that protects you, other than your backside.
Multiple times.
Yes. And that's why. And it's all God. It's the belief system in Jesus that builds the armor around you. But they
Yes,
didn't
so
understand
we-
it back then.
Knowing who we are in Him, we just got to keep speaking and believing it.
Yes.
Because perfect love casts out all fear.
Has to.
And He's perfect love.
Yeah. And the only way you're going to get that perfect love from Him is renew your sight continuously. It's the only way, because you use it up. That's why Jesus had to continually regain his sight.
Throughout the day.
Yeah,
nights.
you had to, because he was a human being. And he expended all this energy trying to deal with all these dumbasses around him, especially the Sadducees and Sadducees, so Sadducees. But he had to. And his disciples, they were, you know, half stupid too, and they were ripping him, and they were sucking energy out of him. And they kept asking, why can't we do what you do? And Jesus said, you can, but you don't do it in fear. And that fear got them. You got to remember, fear is the opposite of love, and how whatever you put your energy into, your magnetic energy, your creative energy, is what's going to happen. And fear is just as powerful as love to you if you put your energy into it. You get to choose. And sometimes we don't choose love. I'm sorry, we don't. I'm going to tell you about that. So you cause it. But there's no defense against love, nothing. Nothing can stand up against it.
That's exactly correct.
But most people don't understand love. They think of the Greek term, phileo and
Agape.
agape, yeah. They don't understand that's not what we're talking about. And the only person you'll ever get unconditional love is through God.
Sure.
Because nobody else can do that. Everything else is conditional. Everything. On this earth, from another human being, or a cat, or a dog, or whatever, is conditional.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so true. Dog will love you, just gotta pet it and feed it.
Yeah, or if you don't, it'll eat you if you pass out, because it's hungry, a human being would too if it got hungry enough.
Right. Well. That's good.
So we walk in love. We walk in the life, light, and love of God. We got to do that as much as we can, and it gets easier the more times you do it. But you get to choose. You can choose fear. Because we're a creature that's made up of different dimensional truths. Well, it's, and the more you practice this defragging in the mornings, getting in the sun, what that's doing is it's rejuvenizing your body. It's making you stronger physically because your body is electric. That's what it runs on. We get the photon energy out of the food, which is, photon means light. Photosynthesis means the plants bring in the light, light, synthesis. They change the energy of the light into sugars, and it goes into the plant, and we eat the plants, and that's how we get the sun. We're just getting the sun, and the food that you eat is pretty much dead anyway, and you're not getting a whole lot of energy out of it because of the way it's prepared.
You mean a burger, you're not getting much in?
No, you're not getting much out of it. Sure tastes good though.
Oh, a cheesesteak. Sounds good right now.
Oh, yeah, it would. But I eat what I want, but I only eat about once a day because of the water and all this other stuff that I do, that I've been on it for 4 or 5 years, whatever. But that will happen to you because your body is finding a place where it organizes itself. It's in harmony. And food really isn't anything, but we grew up with it, so, it's ingrained in me. Sugar and salt and all this other crap. But it's not as bad as it was, and eventually it won't matter. 3 things you got to remember: sunlight, water, energy. And those are the 3 things. And if you're in balance in those 3 places, you won't get sick. You'll have a beautiful life, and you can live as long as you want. Physically. It's not spiritually. We're talking physics now. Physically,
Sure.
not spiritually. Then I'm going to show you what that 528, when this thing comes in, I'll bring it in and I'll bang
What's
it
that
in.
thing you brought one time and put on the forehead?
Yeah, that was the tuning fork. That's
Oh,
528.
okay. Because I know you said don't do it too long or something, and then.
Yeah, I was hitting it with the 528 tuning fork because some people get headaches because they're out of tune. And it's detuning and it's trying to bring you back. It's like chiropractic.
Yeah.
They're putting the body back in harmony so the energy of the meridians will flow. Same principle.
Makes sense.
Also got a laser that's really cool too.
That was what it was.
Was it the laser I
The
brought in?
laser.
Okay, yeah. It cuts the color spectrum in 144 slices instead of just the reds and blues and greens.
Yeah, you put it on our foreheads.
Yeah, that was in the pineal gland too, yeah.
That's what
It
it
opens
was.
it up, yeah. If you leave that on very long, yeah, it'll give you a headache because it's a higher dimensional. I did bring that in. You may not have been here.
I don't think.
You were in California. But yeah, it's really cool. Yeah, I use that for defragging, healing, everything. It's really amazing what it does. Because each color of light is a frequency. we think it's color, but it's not, it's a frequency, it's sending frequencies off.
Stones, was, obviously that's probably why.
I think that's why God had the high priest have that chest with all those different stones. That we think would be.
Ephod.
What,
The ephod.
yeah, because of the stones carry different vibrations.
They got vibrations and they also lit up.
Yeah.
And they could answer, it was a two-way conversation, so they could answer and get questions answered and talk to God that way, yeah. The ephod,
Mhm.
it's kind of cool.
It is. Interesting.
But now you don't need it because you got Jesus.
That's right.
They had to have it. But but it's all based on frequency. See, they were using frequencies then because the stones that were in the chest plate were different frequencies. It was crystal, each crystal has a different frequency.
Right, yes.
Pyramids the same way, yeah. How?
Hallelujah.
Got any questions?
Good.
We started late, so don't freak out.
Okay, Melissa, that was good.